Okay, so here you have just a list. I put it in a table, all the ages, right, of the 20 presidents in the U.S. at the time of inauguration, and they're just scrambled. They're not arranged. So you just put them into L1. Okay, I already did so. Then you're supposed to find the mean, standard deviation, and range. Okay, range. For mean, if you do this stat edit, stat calculate vars, you get 5645. That's in years. Standard deviation is 5.84. That's also in years. Everything is going to be years. Range, you take your largest minus the smallest, right? 68 minus 43. You have a range of 25 years. Okay, so you get half a mark for each. And that's, so technically I would like one variable stats at least, something like that, that you're telling me, you know, you're letting me know you know what to do, okay? And here we have, I told you what interval to use for your frequency table, right? We're gonna go to 4 at a time. And maybe this one, I will, this is 52, 52 to 56, 56 to 60, 60 to 64, 64 to 68. There we go. And then when you tally it, make sure you sort, right? So you go sort in ascending order, and then it's much easier. So 43 goes into the first one, 46 goes into this one, and so forth. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'll just show you that you're supposed to get 1, 1, 3, 3, 6, 5, 1, if you did this correctly. Did one land right in between? Yeah, 52. So 52 should go in here, in this bracket, not in here. So I'll basically say that if you did this whole thing correctly, you get the 1.5 for this one as well, for the table. Okay, so if you made a small mistake, take off half. Like if you're off by 1, right, I would take off half, provided everything else is done correctly. Frequency, I'm asking you to make a histogram, and so I'm going to show you my key here. I'm not going to actually go for the whole thing. But you should have age, right, in years along the x-axis, number of presidents, that's our frequency, and the highest I ever go to is 6. So if you go up till 8, you'll be fine, or if you just want to stop at 6, that's fine as well. I go zipper, and then I just start from 40, I go 44, 48, so I used my frequency table to determine the width of the bars. If you just went up by 1 tick at a time, like 40 to 44, it's okay. It's a little compressed, but it still works, okay? And then just, this is what you should be observing if you did that correctly. And of course, your numbers will be off if your frequency table is different. That's fine. We want consistency. So 2 marks for all elements present. So take off half a mark if you didn't label. Take off half a mark if you didn't put a zipper, things like that. I think zipper, usually on a test, I'll take off a full mark because it's a scale issue, right? You're saying this is 40 and then this is 4, right? That can't be, that you have to be mindful of that. Let's do the back side. 2 frequency tables at the same time. We've done one of these before, right? Do you remember that? There was an AC that where I did this. So the first thing is midpoints. Midpoints you add and then divide by 2. And so you're basically finding the point in between these 2 values. So it should be 175, 225, 275, 325. And 375. So I'll give you a mark for the midpoints, okay? So just having those there, you get a mark already. And then I put these into L1 for sure, and you put this into L2. Okay, so if you're looking at Megastore, you enter all of these into L1, then these values into L2, and then figure out the mean, standard deviation, and N for this store. So you almost forget about savers at first. Just look at this frequency table right there, figure out your information. If you do this right, you get an average of 194.52. The mean is 74.09, and your N is 520. There's actually 520 customers that we're considering here. If I don't see the 520, you lose a mark, okay? Because you're missing the point that you have to go L1 and L2. Okay, so if you want to tell yourself like it's one variable stats, L1 comma L2, that's how you did this one. And then you went one variable stats, L1 comma L3, right? So you're going the midpoints and then L3. It's okay if you erase everything that's in L2 and just put savers into L2, that's fine. Like you don't have to use L3 if that throws you off. But I don't like to erase things unless I have to, because I want to, like, if I make a mistake, if I have to redo it, everything is still there. For savers, you get 268.75. 95.69 is the standard deviation, and 640 is my N, and that represents the customers. So basically I will say this: for each one of them, if you forget N, if N is not 520, if N for you is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if N is 6, you missed the boat, right? So then it's -1, -1. If you forgot to do that. And so, but technically it's out of 4. If this table is filled in properly, that means you found the midpoints. It means you used L1, L2. So you get the full 4 marks there. If you have, okay, I'm going to tell you the scenarios. If you have 520 and 640, and somehow got a different answer, that probably means that you typed in one of these wrong. Maybe you found a wrong midpoint. If I can see the mistake, it's usually only half. Like if you show me the work, but it's just a silly mistake, that's half off. If I can't see why you got the mistake there, then it's a -1 for sure. What's the significance or the meaning of N? It represents the number of customers. Or you can say the number of transactions, but it does say at the top that it represents the customers, like how much customers are spending. So that's what I wanted to hear there. Interpret the results in A. Write a few sentences describing what it tells us. Be specific and use stats terms. So students find it a little overwhelming. I will say pick a store and talk from that store's perspective. So for example, customers. So if I talk about Megastore, customers spend less overall due to the lower mean. Okay, so you can just say the mean is lower for Megastore, so it's going to be sorry, I should have said Megastore at the top. Be specific, okay? Don't just assume we know, right? Communicate specifically. So from Megastore perspective, customers spend less overall due to the lower mean. And then you can talk about standard deviation. However, the spending, the amount customers spend, okay, the amount spent per customer is more consistent due to the lower standard deviation. Okay, so that's how I know that it's more consistent, because it has a lower standard deviation. I know that customers spend less overall because of the lower mean. And you could talk more, right? You could say a lower standard deviation indicates that most spending amounts are going to be closer to my average. Okay, if you want to expand even further, but I would say this is the bare minimum. Like, talk about the mean, talk about the standard deviation. All right. If you came from savers' perspective, you would say they spend more overall because they have a higher average. However, the amount they spend is more spread out. It's more inconsistent because of the higher standard deviation. So just decide what you want to, which perspective you want to take. That is fine. Create a frequency polygon for both stores on the same grid, solid line for Megastore, and dashed for savers. So what I did is, since I already found the midpoints, you could have just stuck to the midpoints, but instead, watch this. I used the interval width that table up top, the frequency table, had. So they're going up by 50, right? And so as soon as I plot it, so what was solid was Megastore. So I would find the point in between. I would imagine that this is a bar and just put the point right in between, right in the middle of that bar. And then always in between of the bar, right? So you're technically connecting midpoints. So this is this Megastore, and then you've got savers over here, okay? So they're kind of like almost opposites, right? Like you spend less here, they spend a bit more here, but you can tell that there's a slight spread between the dashed line, and you have number of customers, spending, and so forth. So you got to be comfortable with that. Okay. Another thing that that I should observe is that the dots you connect, the midpoints, are on the same X line. It's just that one might be higher than the other. That's all. But you're comparing the same, right? So again, I'll mention this one more time. I used this interval width, right, from 100 to 150, and then I would, the y-axis, I would have to go all the way to 200 because you actually get up to 199, right? And then you plot these along the y-axis as well. And then you do the same thing with savers. So hopefully you were able to do that. So that's 4 marks, because it's a lot of work. So labels, right? I'm looking for labels. I'm looking for the zipper. So labels and scale is usually, like in this case, I would say 2 marks and then 1 mark for each line done correctly. Okay. So this page is worth 11. 11, right? 4, 6, and 5, that's 11. So you're the teacher today, right? On this one. The front page. The front page is worth 5, so give yourself some mark there as well.